Ayan, no? So, since we're recording na, so let's start na, no? Okay, so discuss natin si measurement, no? So, why do we have to study measurements? Because number one, chemistry is a measurement-intensive study. Ano meaning nun? Si chemistry, mahilig mag-measure ng mga bagay-bagay, no? Because if you want to understand how matter works, no, you have to know the quantity of matter, no? Yung mga properties niya, including the quantity. So that means you really have to understand measurements first before we proceed with all other chemistry topics, no? So yun. So itong measurement naman, we are all familiar with this one because we do it every day, no? Pag nagsusukat ka ng ayun, no, ng bewang, ng temperature ng katawan mo, ng volume ng tubig na ginagamit nyo, or yung timbang nyo, kunwari, weight conscious kayo, no? So, yun, no? You do measurements every day, and yun, no? So, kung mapapansin nyo, maraming ways to measure, no? Sometimes we use instruments pa, no? Yun, so, we use itong tape measure to measure length, no? Pwede ring meter stick, pwede ring thermometer, kunwari kapag temperature yung measurement nyo. Pwede ring mga cups, no? Or any volume containers to measure volume, and pwedeng scales for measuring weights, no? Or mass, no? So, ganun yung mga ginagawa natin in everyday life, no? So, pwede rin naman tayo magsukat with our physical tawag doon, meron na tayo sa katawan natin, no? Kunwari, isang dangkal, no? Measurement yan, no? Although hindi siya defined because iba-iba yung size ng katawan natin, no? Pero I can say this is isang dangkal. Pag pinagdugtong ko yan, dalawang dangkal, no? So yun, measurement din to, no? So ano mapapansin natin, no? So parang may dalawang paraan in measuring something, no? We can use instruments or we can use body scales, no? So nung unang panahon, no, hindi pa uso yung mga tape measure, wala pang thermometer, wala pang weighing scale. So instead, they use their body size, no, to measure everything, no. Then as the society progressed, the science progressed, no, they started inventing measurement devices, no, in order to standardize yung units ng length, ng volume, so on and so forth. So the idea is dalawa yung ways when we measure, no. Pwedeng gumamit tayo ng instrument, pwedeng gumamit ng body sizes, no. So yun. And yung dalawang bagay na yun that led to different types of systems in measurement, no. So we have the English system and the metric system, no. Then later on, we devised the international system of units, no. So bago tayo pumunta dyan, no, let's see kung ano yung components ng measurement natin. So when we are measuring something, dalawang part yan, no. Always two parts, no. Meron tayo dapat na number. So this defines how many of this unit is meron, no. So dalawa yung components ng measurement natin. We have the number and we have the unit, no. The number tells us how many of the unit do we have, no. Kunwari itong pencil na to, sukatin ko gamit yung thumb ko. So isa, dalawa, tatlo, apat, lima. Kunwari 7 inches, no. So yun. So yung 7 doon, that defines how many inches meron ang isang bagay, no. So yun lang, no. So dalawa yung components natin, we have the number and we have a unit, no. So yun. And yun nga, balikan natin. So we have two types of system in measurement, no. The old method is the English method, no. And the newer method is the metric method, no, or the metric system and the SI system, no. So yun. So balikan natin yung English system. Bakit ba may ganito, no? Kasi nung unang panahon, no, this dates back in centuries, no, in century time, no. So ang nangyari kasi noon, kunwari, I was delegated to be the king of anong lugar ba pwede? Kunwari, ako yung hari ng
Nigeria.
Nigeria. Nigerian prince na. So, kunwari, ako yung hari ng Nigeria. So, kunwari, gusto ko lahat kasi ng bagay ay nakaayon sa aking katawan, no? Kasi because ang idea kasi before, the rulers are sent by God, no? So that means parang yung ruler, yung tao mismo, yung hari. Siya yung magiging point of view ng lahat ng bagay sa mundo. So ganun kasi yung idea nila before, that the king, the ruler is the absolute uh, yung absolute idea na binigay ng Diyos sa atin, no? So ganun. So yun, that's why we have feet, no? Feet measurements, no? So bakit feet yung measurement? Kasi binasa yun sa paa ng isang tao. Sino yung taong yun? Yun yung hari, no? So yun. So they base the measurement for feet for a certain person, no? Nari yung hari, ito yung size ng paa niya. Then sasabihin natin that's 1 feet of of something. Kunwari, umapak siya ng 2. So, 2 feet yun, no? So, measurement yun. So, ganun, no? So, yun yung mga old ways in measuring, no? And, mapapansin nyo? Kunwari, namatay akong hari, no? Then, may pumalit sa akin. Siyempre, iba yung body size niya, di ba? So, ano mangyayari? Ano kaya mangyayari sa measurement system? Magbabago or hindi?
Magbabago po.
Magbabago, no? So yun, kasi iba-iba yung body size natin, no? So ang downside with the English system is that this is dependent on a physical trait, no? Physical property, no? So if malaki yung tao, edi malalaki yung sizes, no? If maliit yung tao, then maliit yung sizes, no? And actually, the interesting thing with this one is that this actually sparked a revolution in France, no? So, feeling ko familiar naman yung iba sa mga Napoleonic Wars, no? So, dun kasi nag-start magkaroon ng metric system, no? So, one way na bakit nagkaroon ng ganun, no? Kasi it's been unfair, no, for traders to trade their materials if pabago-bago yung systems of measurement nila, no? So, sabi nila, lugi tayo. So, anong pwede gawin? So, mag-revolution daw sila, no? So, they revolted into newer systems and they called it the metric system, no? So, this metric system naman, this is a standardized system that which it is not based on physical properties of a person, no? Rather, meron siyang mga basis based on the physical property of the universe, no? Pwedeng sa speed of light, so on and so forth, no? And one good thing with metric measurements is that it is in terms of powers of tens, no? So, ano meaning nun? Kasi tignan nyo yung English system, no? So, for English system, for yung isang feet, ilang inches katumbas niya?
12.
1 feet, 12 inches, di ba? Tapos, ang mapapansin natin doon? So, ang mapapansin kasi natin doon, if ganun yung ating system ng measurements, no, medyo mahirap mag-divide, no? So, you have to divide something by 12 and hindi siya madali, no? Unlike with 10, no, kapag you divide something by 10, what you do is you just move the decimal places, di ba? So, the good thing with metric system is that, yun nga, this is based on fundamental concepts ng nakita sa universe, no? So, this is based on physical properties of the universe. And also, this made the conversion much easier, no? Because it is all in the powers of 10. Unlike the English system na iba-iba, no? So, if you're going to convert gallons to ounces, ibang number yon. So, ganun, no? So, medyo mahirap kasi yung English system, no? Compared to metric system. So, that's the idea lang, no? So, summarize natin yung slide. So, English system, this is the old system. This is historically based on the physical sizes of their rulers, no? That's why they have feet, they have yards, no? Yun, so on and so forth. Unlike the metric system, this is a standardized system of measurement that is based on physical properties of the universe. No? And also, um, it made everything a lot easier because all units are in the powers of tens. No? So if you want to convert something, you just move the decimal place. No? So ganun. So yan. So these are the base units for the metric system. So we have the unit of length for meter, volume in liters, mass in grams, so on and so forth. So this is for the metric system. What about the international system of units naman? No? So yung international system of units, yun naman yung they strengthened the ideas of metric system. No? Yun nga, ginawa nilang purely based on universal concepts, no? Such as the speed of light, so on and so forth. So, kumbaga, yung SI system natin or the SI units, this just strengthened the metric system. No? So, yun lang. Parang tumulong lang siya, no? In defining measurements. No? So, yun. So, balik ulit tayo, no? Then, sabi ko kanina, if you're going to use English systems, no, medyo mahirap siya in a sense that it is not fixed, no? Hindi siya by powers of 10. So, that means if you are going to convert inches to centimeter, you have to divide it by this number, no? And kung wala kang calculator, mahirap to gawin, no? If you are going to convert miles to kilometers, mahirap din gawin, no? Kasi daming decimal, no? Ako, pag nakita kong decimal, sinusukuan ko agad, no? Gamit agad akong calculator. So, yun. If you are going to convert metric system to English system, ganun din, no? So, ang daming numbers masyado. So, yan yung downside with English system, no? The quantity is not fixed because historically, these numbers are based on person, no? On the physical size of a person, no? Especially the king or the ruler. So yun. Unlike for metric system, fixed siya, and that is that is also based in the physical properties of matter, no? Also, you can easily convert your measurements into your big numbers or small numbers easily, no? So, paano yun? If you are, if you are going to measure the size of your, or the radius of your hair, no? Diameter na lang ng hair nyo. That will be a very small number, no? The good thing with metric system is that there are prefixes that you can use, no? To make those small numbers make sense, no? So, mamaya makikita natin yung gamit nitong mga to, no? So, kinukwentuhan ko lang yung kanyang relevance sa history. Then yun, later on, bigyan natin ng sense lalo ito, especially when we do calculations, no? So, the good thing with metric system is that you can expand the counting system, no? Pwede mo siya i-expand, no? If you have a very big number, you can use prefixes, no? To make that big number small, no? So, yun. Pwede mo siya ma-compress, no? For example, download ako kanina ng software. Yung dinownload kong software is 1,000 kilobytes, kunwari. So, ilan siya in terms of megabytes? Di 1,000 megabytes, no? So, as you can see, we can make big numbers small with these prefixes, no? So, yun. So, ang purpose uli ng prefixes natin is that they make big numbers small and small numbers big, no? For example, ano kaya pwede? Yung size ng atom, that is 3 picometer, no? So, in actual measurement, gano yung kalaki, no? So, if you are going to convert picometers to meters, kunwari, that will become 0.0000000000003, no? So, ano ginawa natin doon? We made the small number big, no? With the use of prefix systems, no? So, yun lang naman yung concept muna natin, no? Summarize natin. So, bago tayo mag-proceed sa susunod, no? So, for English, based on the physical properties of a person, the king or the ruler of a nation. So yun. And the metric system, this is based on physical properties of matter, and it is also divided by powers of 10. So this made conversions much easier. So yun. So yun lang naman. Okay, so punta tayo sa SI system. Sabi natin kanina, SI system is an aid for metric system to happen. Okay, so ano meaning nun? SI system just made the metric system more concise, in terms of physical properties of the universe. Meaning nun is mas dinefine niya in a more universal sense yung metric system. Just to give more advantage over the English system. Parang pinush niya lang na mas maganda to. So gamitin niya to. So ganun. Okay, so what are the SI systems? So the SI system are the following. 7 lang naman sila. So it will be easy for you to remember this. If you are going to measure something in terms of its length, ang unit daw na ginagamit sa SI system or sa metric system should be meters. Okay. If you're going to measure mass, you will use kilograms. Pag time naman, seconds. Electrical current, we use ampere. Temperature, Kelvin. Okay. Bakit kaya hindi degrees Celsius? Siguro makakwentuhan natin yan mamaya. Bakit ginagamit natin degrees Celsius? Pero dito, Kelvin. Mamaya makakwentuhan natin yan pag nakapunta na tayo doon. So, amount of substance, we have moles. And the luminous intensity or the brightness of something, especially kunwari star, we measure that using the units of candela. Okay, so yun. Okay, so yun. So ito yung mga fundamental units that we can use in our metric system. So these are units defined by the properties of the universe. For example, yung meter, this is defined as the distance traveled by a photon, in 1/299 million something meter per second. So yun daw yung bilis ng light in that fraction of time. So yun. So that's 1 meter. Kilogram naman, this is based on this was updated recently, and sabi nila they use the Planck's constant. Gumamit sila dito ng Planck's constant. They use Planck's constant to define kilograms. Ito naman, they use light, the speed of light, to define a meter. Yung seconds naman, this is defined using cesium-131 atom, the oscillation of that certain atom that is equal daw to 1 second. So yun, medyo malalim pa kasi yung mga ideas nito, pero as we can see using these 3 examples, we can see that all this basis for measurements sa SI system ay hindi based sa tao. Yun lang yung point ko dito. So, hindi siya based na sa tao, kundi sa mga bagay that exist in the universe. Yung tao nag-exist din naman sa universe. Pero iba-iba kasi yung size ng tao. So, yun. Unlike yung light, yun na talaga siya. Yung cesium atom, gulat ka pag lumaki yan. Hindi yan magbabago. So, as is yun. So, these are the things that never changes sa universe. Kasi ito yung mga constant. Okay. Hence, giving this system more leverage over the of the English system. So, yun lang naman. Okay. So, with all those metric systems or the SI units, we can measure different things. For example, we can measure length. Pwede rin yung volume. So, kung mapapansin nyo, walang volume dito. Pero, how can we measure volume with metric systems? Okay. So, mathematically speaking, volume is just the length cube, Okay, so if you just cube the length, no? That will give you volume measurements, no? Okay, so ganun. So, if you can measure length, that means you can also measure volumes, no? So, yun. Ano pa? Yung mass, ayun, gamit ka lang ng timbangan, no? So, the mass is the quantity of how many matter you have in a certain system. So kung gaano karami yung particles na meron ka, no? Okay. So, what about weight, no? So, ito medyo issue to sa iba, no? Yung mass and weight. Ano daw difference nito? Sige. So, kayo, ano sa tingin nyo yung difference ng mass and weight?
Oo, sir.
Sige.
Sir, yung weight, sir, dependent sa may gravity.
Okay,
Yung mass,
so
sir, hindi siya nagbabago.
Okay, so mass is independent, no? Sa external factors, no? What do I mean by that is, if ikaw pumunta ka sa Mars, yung mass mo, same pa rin. Bakit same? Kasi you contain the same number of atoms, no? Compared sa nasa Earth ka. Unless siguro maputol yung katawan mo. Magbabago yung mass mo nun. Pero kunwari hindi, no? Kunwari ako, nandito ako sa Earth at ganito karaming particles meron ako. So ito yung mass ko. Kung pumunta ako sa Mars, yung pa rin yung dami ng particles ko. So that means I should have the same mass, no? However, if we take into consideration the gravitational acceleration, then dun papasok yung weight, no? So weight is just the mass times the acceleration due to gravity. So you can weigh more, but your mass is still the same, no? Kunwari, tinatamad kayo mag-exercise, gusto nyo gumaan, edi lumipat kayo ng ibang planet, no? So yun, gagaan yung bigat nyo nun. Mas easy, di ba? Nakakapagod mag-exercise. So, ganun. Siyempre, baka deads ka na nun. Okay, so yun lang yung difference, ha? So, kung tinatamad mag-workout, lumipat ng planeta. Kasi iba yung gravitational constant doon. Mas gagaan ka doon. Okay. So, yun. Ayun. So, if meron kayong questions? Any questions? Ay, sige po. Dali, kung may questions kayo, go lang. Mamaya i-recall natin uli lahat, no? So, ganun naman ginagawa ko, no? Parang every slide may nire-recall na lang, no? Kaya matagal ako mag-discuss, eh. So, yan. So, anyway, ang makikita lang natin sa slide na to is, this gives us a sample calculation on how to see the difference ng weight and mass, no? Okay, so yun. So, for example, if you are on Earth and you want to measure the weight of a 30 kilogram object, no? Ano daw kaya yung weight niya, no? Okay, so all you have to do is just, you're going to multiply this, yung ating mass, by the gravitational constant of the Earth, no? So, yun. So, yan. So, makikita natin, no, that a mass of 30 kilogram corresponds to a weight of 294 newtons, no? Newtons is the unit for weight, no? Pwede rin naman kilogram meter per second square, no? So, kunwari, I am going to measure kung ano yung weight niya pag siya ay nasa Mars. Okay, so compare natin. So, sino mas mabigat, no? Siya sa Earth or siya sa Mars, no? I don't have the figure with me, so Google natin, no? Google tayo. Ano yun? Mars gravitational. And so, tignan natin. So, 3711 meter per second, no? So, keep lang. Okay. So, sa Mars, that's 3.711. Ayun. Nawala. Teka lang. Meters per second, no? Square. Okay. So, tignan natin if magbabago yung kanyang weight despite having the same mass, no? So, magbabago ba? Siyempre, no? So, let's just do that, no? Measure natin yung kanyang weight. So, weight is mass times gravitational acceleration. So, that is 30 kilograms times 3.711 meter per second square. So, nagsosolve ako So, pwede rin kayo sumabay pag nagsosolve. Okay. So, the weight of that object is 111.33 newtons. Ibig sabihin, mas magaan siya, no? So, yun. So, yun lang. So, mas magaan pag nasa Mars, no? Mabigat pag nasa Earth, no? Okay, so yun. Okay, yung second problem, no? Sabi naman dito, compute about the weight of a body on the moon if the mass is 45 kilograms. Okay, so 45 kilograms yung mass. Ito yung acceleration due to gravity sa moon, no? So, makikita natin that's 73 newtons. What if kung nasa Earth siya? Gano'n kaya siya kabigat, no? Ano kaya yung weight niya? So, try natin. Ang gravitational acceleration sa Earth ay 9.8 meters per second square. Tapos, ano gagawin natin? May notif sa yun bang kala mo may pera? So, yan. Kunin natin yung kanyang weight. So, that's mass times gravitational acceleration. So, this is 45 kilograms times 9.8 meter per second square. So, weight is 9.8. 441 newtons. Okay. So, ano mapapansin natin, no? So, sa Earth, sa Moon, mas magaan yung mga bagay, no? Okay. Despite having the same mass, because of the gravitational, the difference in gravitational acceleration, doon nagbabago yung weight, no? Kaya mapapansin nyo doon sa sa mga moon videos, no? 'Di ba? Mabilis na nila nabubuhat yung mga objects nila. So, bakit nila madali nabubuhat? Imagine nyo yung moon rover. 100 kilos daw yon yung moon rover, yung ginamit nilang sasakyan sa moon. Okay, so 100 kilos yun. Paano nila na assemble by hand, no? Paano nila nahila-hila? Kasi, iba yung gravitational acceleration sa moon kaysa sa Earth, no? So, mabigat siya, yes, 100 kilograms, pero yung weight niya ay iba, no? So, yun. So, yun, no? So, yun lang naman, no? I'm sure familiar kayo dito sa mga ganitong bagay pa naman, no? So, yun. Okay, so time naman, no? So, itong time, yun, saan ba to define, no? Ito ay defined dun nga sa oscillation ng cesium atom, no? Cesium-131 atom, no? And according to scientists, no, if it oscillates by, malaki kasi yung number, no? So, di ko maalala yung big number na yun. So, if oscillates by that certain number, that means isang segundo yung nakalipas, no? Okay. So, yun lang naman. We have to know yung conversion ng time natin, no? Kasi, alam nyo na to, no? So, kapag may isang, minuto, 60 seconds yung nakalipas. Pag isang oras, 60 minutes yung nakalipas, no? So, bakit kailangan natin to i-reiterate, no? Kasi, later on, kailangan natin tong information na to, no? So, kasi magsasagot tayo, no? So, I just have to reiterate all these ideas, no? All these concepts. So, yun. Okay, so temperature tayo. Okay, so we have three different ways to measure something, no? To measure the temperature of something. So, tatlo yan. Bigyan ko kayo ng kwento. Okay, so, alin gusto nyo mauna sa tatlo? Siyempre, punta tayo kay Fahrenheit, no? Siya kasing luma, eh. Okay, so, ang kwento ng Fahrenheit is this, no? This is based on the temperature changes sa isang living organism, no? So, ginawa ni Fahrenheit, no? Tao talaga siya, no? So, nagtusok siya ng thermometer. Ito sabi sa history to, tinusok niya daw yun sa puwet daw ng kalabaw. So, yun yung kwenta. Kasi sinabi niya, okay, so ito yung temperature niya. So this is the normal temperature, no? Okay, so ayan, pag mainit daw yan, that is 100 Fahrenheit, no? So ganun, no? So yun, medyo weird siya, no? So based kasi siya sa sa physical object, no? So based siya sa temperature ng tao mismo, na if may sakit ka, automatic 100 Fahrenheit ka, no? So anything below that, that means di ka malamig, no? And di ka mainit, no? Anything above that, mainit ka. So yun. So I'm not really accustomed in Fahrenheit, no? But that's the history lang, no? So Fahrenheit used a cow to measure the temperature, no? So yun, tinusok niya daw yun sa puwet, yung thermometer. Ginanon niya daw. So yun yung kwento. Si Celsius naman, iba yung kwento niya, no? So ang kwento ni Celsius, he based his scale on water, no? According to Celsius, if the water freezes, no, that means it is 0 degrees Celsius, no? Ginawa niya, may thermometer din siya. Tinusok niya yun sa tubig. Then if that freezes, sabihin niya, that's 0 degrees Celsius, no? Okay, so paano naman yung mataas na temperature, no? So ginawa niya, tinusok niya rin yung same thermometer, no? Then pag nakita niya kumukulo na yung tubig, no? So sabi niya, that's 100 degrees Celsius. Then with those endpoints ng kanyang thermometer. So if this is 0, this is 100. So dinivide niya yung buong section by 100 graduations, no? So he came up with the Celsius scale. Okay? So si Kelvin naman, ito naman medyo out of this world, no? Because according to Kelvin, the lowest temperature possible is if the atom is not moving, no? So kunwari ito yung atom, pag hindi yung gumagalaw, sabi niya, that means there's no thermal energy. That means 0 Kelvin or absolute 0. Okay? Pero kapag yung gumalaw onte, that means may thermal energy, no? And kapag mas gumalaw yan, that means mas maraming thermal energy, hence mataas yung temperature, no? Isipin nyo yan as kamay nyo. Ganito kayo sa screen, no? Magdadasal tayo. So I think, kunwari itong dalawang kamay nyo yung atoms, no? Pagdikitin natin sila. Okay? So yan. Ayan. So yan. Pag hindi sila gumagalaw, hindi sila mainit, no? So ibig sabihin nun, there's no thermal energy. The atoms are not moving. So 0 Kelvin to kunwari. But if gumalaw-galaw yan, anong mapapansin nyo? Mainit, no? So yun, mataas daw yung temperature pag ganun, no? So yun lang. So the basis for Kelvin to say na low yung temperature is that yun daw atom is hindi gumagalaw. So yun lang. So in summary, Fahrenheit is based on body temperature. Wag na natin ilagay yung yung kalabaw, no? Pero body temperature din naman yan. Celsius is based on water, no? Yung kanyang boiling and freezing. Ang si Kelvin naman ay atoms, no? Okay, so bakit kaya Kelvin yung ginamit sa sa SI system? Ba't hindi si Celsius? Kasi hindi naman lahat sa universe may water, no? So, yun, no? Hindi natin sure, pero ang water kasi is abundant lang dito sa Earth, no? Mga exoplanets, baka wala silang water, so baka wala silang Celsius scale, no? So yun yung idea, no? So unlike atoms, this exists in all the universe, no? So may atoms sa kahit saang part ng universe, no? So ito yung ginamit ng SI system, not the Celsius scale. Siyempre, hindi yung Fahrenheit kasi wala naman tao sa ibang planeta, no? So yan. So hindi siya magandang basis kasi according nga sa sinabi natin kanina, no, the SI system is trying to make the measurements based on universally available materials na yung meron na sa universe, no? So yun. So the atoms would be the best choice, no? So yun. Okay. So ang problem dito is since iba-iba sila ng basis, ito body temperature, ito water, ito atoms, no? So, how are we going to interconvert all these numbers, all these measurements, no? So, ito yung mga equations natin, no? So, yan. Kapisaduhin na lang natin. Kaya pwede naman kayo gumamit ng calculator, no? So, marunong ba kayo mag-convert sa calculator? So, kung hindi, teka lang, magka-camera tayo. Asan na yun? Ay, ito. Ayan. So, kung hindi pa kayo marunong mag-convert, no? Teka lang. Ganito yung setup ko eh. Ay, ewan. Okay. So, kung gusto nyo mag-convert using calculator, no? So, ayan, no? So, sa likod ng calculator ko, I have unit conversions, no? I can use that, no? So, yun. May conversion for Fahrenheit and degrees Celsius, no? Siyempre, walang Kelvin kasi madali lang yun. So, yun. So, yan. Kung tinatamad kayo, ito, no? But if I ask you kung paano nyo na-solve yun, then, ayun. You have to show the equation, no? So, yun. You should be familiar with that, no? This card. Teka lang yung pusa ko. Meow. Ayan daw. Hi daw. Umiiyak siya. Okay. So, yun na. So, you have to keep in mind itong equations natin. So, yun. Gagamitin natin siya later. Lalabas siya. Wait lang. Ayun na. Okay. So, convert tayo, no? So, yun. So, for example, we are going to convert Fahrenheit to Celsius, no? So, keep in mind the equation, no? So, ito yung equation, no? When converting Fahrenheit to Celsius, no? So, that's 5/9 times the degrees Fahrenheit minus 32, okay? So, yun. So, all we have to do is just to plug in the Fahrenheit dito. So, ipa-plug in lang natin yan dyan. So, we will arrive with the Celsius conversion, no? Okay. So, yun lang, no? May copy naman kayo nito, no? May magsasolve pa tayo. Okay. So, dito naman, magko-convert tayo from Celsius to Fahrenheit, no? So, ito naman daw yung equation na ginamit, no? So, question. Ito ba at ito ay parehas lang? Ayan. Text 1 kung tama. Press 2 kung mali. Ayan. So, ito ba at ito ay parehas lang? Ito at ito ay parehas lang ba? Sige. Oh. Parehas lang yun, no? Parehas lang. Ano ginawa dyan, no? Inikot lang yan by algebra, no? Okay, so yun. Derive lang, no? Nilipat lang yung ganito doon sa kabila. Then yun, they arrive with this equation. So yun. So what we're going to do is just we're going to plug in the Celsius to Fahrenheit, the Celsius here. Then we can get the Fahrenheit, no? You can use your calculator naman if you want, no? So yun, same lang yan. So, paano naman kapag papuntang Kelvin, no? So, when you're converting Kelvins, no, you just add 273.15, no? Suggestion ko lang, no, na we need that 0.15. Bakit, no? Lang. Favorite ko yung 0.15, no? Just to make our calculations more accurate, no? Kasi ganun daw, no? So, yun. Okay, so ano yung mga kailangan natin malaman, no? So, these are the conversions. Then, dagdag natin si Kelvin. That is degrees Celsius plus 273.15, no? So, yun lang. So, yun lang naman, no? Screenshot nyo na lang, no? Okay, so, ganun. Sige, another way of measurement, no? Density. Okay, so ano naman si density, no? Density gives us an idea on how much matter are there in a certain volume. Ano meaning? So meaning lang nun, gaano karami yung matter, ano yung mass ng matter na yon na nakalagay sa isang volume of space. No? Okay, so that means if you have high density, mataas yung density nyo, mataas yung number niya, that means more matter are compacted, no, in a certain space. No? Pero kapag mababa yung kanyang density, that means few matter are compacted in a certain space. No? So yun lang. Yun lang yung idea. No? So that is the ratio of mass over the volume. No? Okay, so the SI unit for this one should be kilograms per cubic meter. No? Okay, bakit naging cubic meter yung SI unit for volume? No? Bakit naging cubic meter? Kasi, diba sabi natin kanina, volume is just length cube, no? So, kinub lang yung length, no? And what is the SI unit for length? Meter, diba? So, meter lang yan na kinub, no? So, yan. That's why the SI unit for volume is cubic meter, no? So, yan. And the SI unit for mass is kilograms. Hence, the SI unit for density is kilogram per cubic meter. But, hindi natin ito ginagamit, no? So, bakit hindi natin ito ginagamit? Masyado kasi malaki, no? If you're going to measure things, no? Ayan, if you're going to measure things kasi hindi naman kilo-kilo yan, no? Especially kapag sa chemistry. Magulat ka, may isang kilong asukal dyan, no? Lalagay mo sa timbangan. Baka masira yung timbangan, no? So, in chemistry, we use only small amounts of objects, no? So, we do not use kilograms instead of grams. And yung volume natin, since maliliit lang yung containers natin, we use cubic centimeter or ml, no? So, yun. So, but the SI unit is kilogram per cubic meter, but the common unit is grams per cm cube or grams per ml. So, those are the common units, no? Huwag nyo lang kalimutan yung SI unit, no? So, yun. Share ko lang. So, yun. Ito, sample calculations. Mamaya marami tayong calculations, no? Kung makita nyo yung worksheet, napakadaming tanong, no? So, yun. Medyo masaya. Okay, so sige. Measurement tayo. If 73.2 ml of liquid has mass of this, what is the density? So, ano lang ginagawa, no? We divide mass by volume, no? So, yan yung ginawa niya. So, we arrive with a density of 0.84. No? Number 2 daw, calculate the density, blah, 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 blah. Yan. So, calculate the mass daw given yung density, no? Okay, so, pag hahanapin nyo yung mass from density and volume, madali lang yan, no? So, remember, density is equals to mass over volume. If you are looking for the mass, all you have to do is to letter C. Ano yung word na yun? Cross multiply. No? So, cross multiply mo lang yan para makuha mo yung mass, no? Density times the volume. O kaya, ito ginagamit ko yung triangle. Medyo Illuminati kasi itong chemistry, no? So, maraming triangle dito. So, ito. Bigyan natin ng sense itong Illuminati triangle, no? Lagyan natin mata. Ayan. Okay. So, kunwari, you're going to look for density. Kunwari, ito missing. Kunwari, ito nawawala yung density. Ano gagawin? Yung mass sa taas, yung volume sa baba. So, that just means you have to divide mass by volume to get density. Okay? If you are asked what is the mass of the matter, ano daw yung mass? Ano gagawin? Ito, yung density, katabi niya si volume. Pagkatabi, i-multiply. No? So, yun. So, you just multiply density by volume if you are asked what is the mass. If you are asked what is the volume, ano gagawin? Mass over density naman. So, yun ito yung Illuminati triangle. Marami pa tayong ma-encounter na triangle, no? So, yun. So, ganun yung ganap ng triangle na to. Okay. Pero ito yung basis niya pa rin, no? Cross multiplication. Pero ako, even until now, matanda na ako, ito parang gamit ko yun, no? So, yan. Mas madali kasi maalala. So, yan. So, yan. So, ginawa niya is that, yan, minultiply niya yung density by the volume. And by the way, when doing that, no, tingin tayo dito, the units should cancel out, no? The units should cancel out, no? So, dapat mag-cancel out yung units, no? Kasi if hindi sila mag-cancel out, then our calculation is nonsense, no? Kasi nandun pa rin yung unit, no? So, kailan magka-cancel out yung unit if meron sa numerator and meron sa denominator, no? So, yan, pwede mag-cancel yung ml. Sir, paano kunwari yung, yung volume niya, naka-liters, paano ko i-cancel out yun dito sa ml? Then you have to use your, your prefixes, diba? Remember, may prefixes tayo. Ano uli meaning ng m dito sa L? Ano meaning ng m? Na maliit, no? This is milli. Ayun, milli, no? Milliliters, no? May sabihin, this is 1,000 of a liter. So, ganun. So, yeah, you can do that, no? Mamaya, marami tayong practice, no? Okay, so ano naman yung specific gravity, no? So, when we say specific gravity, this is just density without units, no? Okay, unahan ko na kayo. No units. Millilish. Ayan. So, ano yung yung specific gravity? Ano lang yan? That's just density without units, no? Bakit, no? Kasi ginawa nila is, may nag-angry react kay John Rolf. Wala na. So, yeah. So, ang ginawa lang ng specific gravity is that it just divided the density of the object by the density of water at 4 degrees Celsius. Nakalimutan yung part na yan. Ano ba yan? Sadreax. Wait lang, Sadreax. Saan yung Sadreax dito? Sad na. Yun na. So, yan. Anong ginawa lang sa Hindi nyo ba ako man? Noisy daw. Sige. So, ano nang ginawa dito sa specific gravity? The density of the object is just divided by the density of water at 4 degrees Celsius. No? Because at 4 degrees Celsius, the density of water is exactly 1.0 gram per ml. No? Only at 4 degrees Celsius. No? That means any temperature higher and any temperature lower, hindi siya 1 degree Celsius. No? So, saan ginagamit tong specific gravity, no? So, nakita ko to nung nagpa-test ako, no, sa urinalysis, no? Nakita ko doon, specific gravity. Sabi ko, wow. Yun, sabi ko, wow. And yun lang, wala lang. Nakita ko lang, may specific gravity, oh. Sabi ko, ba't di na lang density, no? So, yun na. So, ginagamit tong specific gravity mostly on medical fields, no? So, yun. Sa chemistry, more on, pa rin tayo, density. Wala eh. So, yun. So, yan. So, tignan natin, no? So, yan lang, no? Yan. You're just going to divide this by 1 gram per ml, then you still arrive with the same number, no? Just without the units, no? So, yun. Just to make life easier, gaya nga ng sabi ko, this is used in medical field, so I don't know kung saan, yung purpose, no? Sanay kasi ako na may unit, no? So, ganun lang. So, yan. So, anyway. So, kunwari, ito naman, liquid mercury has a specific gravity of 13.6. What is the density? Ganun din, no? Ano lang gagawin nyo? Lalagyan nyo lang ng unit, no? So, yun lang. But the mathematical method is this, no? So, this is the formula for specific gravity. If you're asked what is the density of the object, you are just going to cross-multiply this So you will have this equation. Then remember the density of water at 4 degrees Celsius is 1 gram per ml. Then yun, you will arrive with the answer. With the same answer with units this time. So ganun lang. Itong handling numbers, mamaya na natin to. So feeling ko time na natin para mag-worksheet. Magtatrabaho na tayo. Discard. Ay, malapit na tayo matapos, no? Close ko lang yung ano. Ay, okay. So, hanap tayo ng conversions, no? Ang daming tanong. Daming tanong dito. What is the density? Sige, start tayo magsagot ng mga questions dito. Ano kaya pwede? Itong part 1 kasi, this is on handling numbers, no? So, mamaya na siya. So, dito tayo, sagot tayo ng ibang mga bagay. Hindi lahat to sasagutan na, pero yun, pwede nyo naman sagutan din. So, pero for the purpose of this class, no, konti lang sasagutan natin. So, yun, no, sige. So, let's try to answer number, ano kaya? Medyo masaya kasi ako magpa-question eh. So, yan. Ano kaya pwede kunin natin dito? Ito, number 20. Wala lang. Anong color ng pen? Blue na lang. No? So, yan. Let's try to answer number 20. No? So, sabi dyan, titanium is used in airplane bodies, no? Because it is strong and light. No? Sana all. It has a density of 4.55 grams per cubic centimeter. If a cylinder of titanium is 7.75 centimeter long and has a mass of 153.2 grams, calculate the diameter of cylinder. Ay, ganun. Ayan. Medyo masaya siya. No? So, yun. So, anong given? No? Ito, tip ko sa inyo. No? When you're answering problems, no? Lista nyo yung may tawag doon eh. What is asked, what is given, no? Mga ganung bagay. Alam ko, that's so elementary, no? Pero that's useful. Especially when you have lots of numbers, no? Presented on the question. So, yun. So, lagay natin yung given. No? Ano yung given? So, given that the density is equal to 4.55 grams per cubic cm, ano pa? If a cylinder of titanium is 7.75 centimeter long. So, ano meaning nung 7.75 centimeter long na cylinder? Yun ay kanyang, okay. So, tingnan natin na ito yung cylinder, ha? Ayan. So, asan dyan yung Asan dyan yung 7.75 cm? A, ayan ba? O B, eto. Sige.
B.
A or B?
B po.
B.
B.
Ibig sabihin,
B po.
B, sir. Or Billie Eilish.
itong 7.75
And the bad graph.
Itong 7.75 cm, siya yung kanyang height, no? Okay, so, yung cylinder kasi natin nakahiga lang, no? Okay, pero ang equation niyan, no? Ang equation ng volume niyan is pi r square h, no? Ito yung h, no? Yan. So, yung h is just the length, no? This is just the length. No? We can rewrite that as pi r square length, no? Para masaya yung buhay natin. Billy. Ayan na naman si Billie Eilish. Ayan na. So, yun. So, the height, no? Lagay natin, the height of the cylinder is 7.75 centimeter. Okay. Then the mass of the titanium cylinder is 153.2 grams. Find, ano yung hahanapin? Calculate the diameter. Ay, ganun. Okay. Sige. So, magsasagot na tayo. So, we are given the density, the height, or the length of the cylinder, and the mass of the cylinder. Ang question ngayon is, what is the diameter? Okay, so, one tip, tip ko sa inyo. When solving problems, you write the given. Tapos na tayo. You write what is asked, what is ought to be found. So, yun, sinulat natin yung find, Then, the next thing na gagawin nyo is to write yung equation. So, ano yung equation natin? Oo, parang gaps. Ano yun, Kasi even until now, tinuturo ko yung ganitong method. Kasi may mga students na pag nag-solve, gulo-gulo. So, ako kasi nalilito ko pag ganun May noisy, si John wrote noisy. Ayan. So, equation. Ano yung equation natin? This is density equals mass over volume. Sige. Okay. So, tapos na ba yan, Hindi, Kasi, kung makikita natin, if we have a cylinder, the volume can be expressed as, the volume of the cylinder, this can be expressed as pi r square height, So, that means we can rewrite the equation as mass over pi r square height, So, ganun. Ano susunod, Can we now solve? Pwede naman, Paano na natin nasasabing pwede na? We have the density here. We have the mass. Pi is a number. So, okay. We're given height, So, we are given height or the length. So, isa na lang yung missing variable natin. But the question is this missing variable related to diameter?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Bakit? Ano yung relationship nila?
The radius is half of the diameter.
Yun. So, the radius is half the diameter. So, that means may relationship sila. Sana all.
Sana all.
We can solve for the problem. So, we can solve first for the radius, then we multiply it by 2 to get the diameter. Sige. So, we will rewrite the equation in terms of radius, So, when we rewrite the equation in terms of radius, what we're going to do is that we are moving one term, the unknown variable, to the left side, All other known variables will be moved to the right side of the equation, Mga algebra things, So, ano yung unknown variable natin? Radius. So, yung move natin yun dun sa kabila by cross-multiplying it, Okay. Pakita natin yung old method, para alam nyo yung nangyayari. So, nasa denominator siya. So, that means i-multiply natin para mag-cancel out. So, we have r squared d equals m pi h, So, yun. What else, Yung diameter, known quantity naman yan. So, we're going to divide both sides by diameter. So, we can cancel this unit, So, r squared is equals to m pi h d. Then, to get r, we're just going to obtain the square root of mass, pi, height, and the diameter. So, this is the equation that we're going to work on with, So, yun. So, all we have to do is just to plug in all the numbers, presented. Okay, so yun. So, sige. So, let's begin. So, that's r equals square root of mass is 1 53.2 grams divided by pi. Hindi ko na isusulat 3.14 kasi pipindutin na lang natin siya sa calculator. Kasi kapag yung pi, ginawa lang natin 3.14, baka ma-round off yung sagot eh. So it is better if you write pi instead of 3.14. So, times height, ang height ay 7.75 cm times diameter, density, which is 4.55 grams per cm cube. Sige. Then, ano mapapansin natin? No? Can we cancel units? Can we cancel units dito? Opo.
Yes.
Ano sumagot? Sige,
Yes.
cancel ko yung grams.
Opo.
Ano pa yung pwede ma-cancel?
CM po.
CM po.
So, cancel ko yung CM. May matitira dito.
Yes po.
Opo, CM
Meron
squared.
po.
Alam.
Yung CM squared.
Yes.
Sige, sabay-sabay tayo pipindot sa calcu. 1 times square root. Make sure na yung i-enter nyo yung pi mismo. Bigyan ko kayong example. So, ayan. So, enter nyo yung pi. Huwag yung 3.14. Kasi mara-round off yan eh. So, to enter pi, press nyo lang yung shift. Then, labot. Ayan. So, press shift. Then, yun, yung pi na yellow. Yan. So, ganun, no? So, para hindi ma-round off yung sagot natin. Okay, so the number is 1.1759. Ano na lang, kunin na lang natin yung 2 decimal places, no? 2 decimal places na lang muna. May rules para dito mamaya. So, for now, kunin natin yung 2 decimal places. 1.18. Ano yung unit? Ang unit ay cm square. Tignan natin, no? The units, no, should follow the mathematical operations then. Okay, so yan. So I'm going to rewrite this whole equation. Pero yung units lang, no, yung makikita natin. So units, in terms of units, this is grams divided by cm times grams per cm cube, no? Okay, so ganun. So, earlier we said we can cancel grams, we can cancel centimeter. So what we're left with is r equals square root of 1 over cm square. Ano pwede natin gawin dito sa fraction na to? We can Okay, so if you have a fraction below the fraction, meaning you have a fraction in the denominator, you have to get the reciprocal, no? So we can rewrite this as, that is just 1 times the reciprocal of the fraction below, no? So that becomes cm square na lang, no? So yun. Meron namang word na reciprocate, no? Ayan. Pag hindi na tama yung binibigay sa'yo ng partner mo, ayun, ba't hindi mo kaya i-reciprocate na mga ganun bagay? So yun. Height na. Ganyan talaga mga linyahan. Been there, done that. Sige. Okay, so yun na. Always take note na if you have a fraction, you have a fraction sa fraction, you can reciprocate that, no? Okay, so yun. So, So in summary, A over B divided by C over D. This can be rewritten as A over B times D over C. Yun. You really have to remember your fractions kasi to be honest, madali lang yung calculations kasi calculator naman gumagawa no. But the units, no, kayo mag-aalam kung ano yung units niya. So yun. Okay, so in turn, so magiging square root of cm square, and sabi natin, no, the units follow the mathematical operations, no. So kung square to, then may square root, ano mangyayari? They cancel out to give you cm, no. So yun, so the radius is 1.18 cm. Is that the final answer? Yan na ba yung final answer natin?
No.
Kasi ang hinahanap ay
Diameter.
Meter.
so to get the diameter, that is just twice the radius, no?
Yes.
So this is 2.36 cm. Final answer. Ayan. Oh, you can burahin ko na yung ibang part, no? And you can take this screenshot, no? May nag-text. So yun. And you can take a screenshot of this question and the solution. Ayan. Magsasagot pa tayo ng question, no? Ayan. So, feeling ko na screenshot nyo na naman, no? Galing naman dad na ka-inspire. Naway lahat. Sana may matutunan tayo sa online class. Kaya nyo yan. Okay, so tapos na natin yung number 20. Lagay natin yung sagot dito. Ay, screenshot ko na to para ma-post natin sa discussion mamaya, no? Screenshot. Yan. Burahin ko na to, ha. Ayan, magsasagot pa tayo, eh. Ay, daming buburahin. Ayan. So we're done with number 20. Sino pa pwede? Anong pwede sagutan? Pili tayo. Ito na lang. 13 now. So let's try to answer number 13. An ice cube is 2 inches on a side. Sige. And weighs 1.20 times 10 raised to 2 grams. Ay, bigat naman nun. What is the density of ice? And what volume of water is obtained when ice cube melts? No? Sige. Gege. Sige, sigutin natin yung 13. Sabi diyan, number 13, the ice cube is 2 inches on a side, no? So the side is equal to 2 inches. And it weighs 1.20 times 10 raised to 2 grams, no? So weight, no? Weight or mass, no? Interchangeable siya, no? Kasi nasa Earth naman tayo, no? Ayun na, share ko lang, no? Mapapansin nyo, we can interchange weight and mass, no? Without taking into consideration the gravitational acceleration. Bakit, no? Kasi we are all experiencing the same the same gravitational acceleration, no? Roughly the same, no? Kaya mapapansin nyo dun sa mga bio data, curriculum vitae, or any forms, wala kang makikita dun na weight, tapos nakalagay newtons, no? Mga kilograms na. Kasi understood na nasa Earth tayong lahat, no? So, yun lang. Sige. So, that's 1.2 times 10 raised to 2 grams. Ano pa? What volume of water? Ayan, so, letter A, what is the density? A, density. Hindi, find pala. Find A, density of ice cube. Laki-laki ng ice cube. Letter B, what is the volume of water obtained when it melts now. Volume of H2O when ice cube melts. The density is density is 1 gram per ml. Sige, so let's try to answer this now. Okay, so ito yung ice cube natin, no? So, kunwari draw artist ako. Yan, tutunaw siya. So, yan yung ice cube natin. Sabi dyan, the side is 2 inches, no? So, ano meaning nun? Since cube yan, to get the volume, anong gagawin natin? To get the volume of an ice cube, ano gagawin natin? We just
Length times width.
length times width times height. Or, pag cube kasi, understood siya na all sides are the same, no? So, yun. For a cube, all sides are the same. So,
The same.
basically, this is just side cube, no? So, ganun. Okay, so yun. Ito yung question, no? Anong gagawin natin question dito? The unit for side is inches. Ano yung common unit for volume? Cubic centimeter, di ba? Or ml. So, the common unit for the volume is cubic centimeter or ml. So, that means we have to convert inches to inches to centimeter, no? And with that, papasok tayo sa next topic, no? Puntahan na natin siya, no? Skip natin muna to. So, yun. Hindi nyo inasahan yun, no? So, yun. So, when we are asked to convert one unit into the other, anong gagawin natin? We're going to employ the factor label method. No? So, factor label method or dimension analysis, no? Or conversion. No? So, ganun. So, what is this? No? This is just a procedure in which we convert one unit into another unit. No? So, yun. So, also, we need a conversion factor. When they say conversion factor, this is the ratio of two different units, no, with a multiplier. Okay. So, ano meaning nun? So, kailangan meron tayong conversion factor. Okay. So, for the question kanina, that's inches, gagawin nating centimeter. Do we have conversion factor for that? Meron, no? So, balikan natin yung slide. Asa na yung slide? Ito, no? Ayan. So, kung makikita nyo, 1 inch is equal to 254 centimeter, no? So, this is the conversion factor that we are looking for, no? So, once our calculation involves conversion, that means we're going to employ the factor label method, no? So, bigyan muna natin ng insight si factor label method, no? Okay, so, yeah. So, to apply the factor label method, ang gagawin lang natin is we will multiply the quantity with the conversion factor to get the desired quantity. So, yun. Paano yan, no? Kunwari, punta tayo dito. Anong given quantity natin kanina? That's 2 inches, no? Okay. Then, we will multiply it by the conversion factor. Ano yung conversion factor ng inch to centimeter?
2.54
centimeter. 1 inch equals 2.
So, 1 inch over 2.54 centimeters.
2.54 over 1 inch.
When we're going to use conversion factor here, no, hindi siya nakaganyan, no? Hindi siya naka-equal sign. Instead, naka-fraction siya. Okay. Sinong unit yung nasa baba?
Si
1
inches
inch
para
pa.
ma-cancel out.
1 inch yung sa taas.
1 inch na sa baba.
Para ma-cancel out. Kasi over
Ay,
1
oo nga.
inch.
Okay.
Parang numerator.
So, Itong 1 inch nasa baba para mag-cancel yung units. No? And yung 2.54 nasa taas para siya yung matira na unit. No? So that means 2 inches is equal to
5.08.
5.08.
5.08
Okay.
centimeters.
So remember, no, when we are going to employ factor label method, no, we multiply our given quantity with a conversion factor. Okay, so what is the conversion factor? Given yan, no, may listahan naman tayo dito sa PowerPoint natin, no. Or you can look it up sa Google, no. Okay. So anong gagawin natin when we have the conversion factor? All we have to do is ilagay yung given units sa baba ng fraction, like this one. Why? In order for the units to be cancel culture. Dito lang pwede yung cancel culture, no? Kasi kailangan mag-cancel ng units, no? Cancel ka. Ayan. So, yan. Dito lang mag-a-apply yung cancel culture, ha? So, yun. Then yung nasa taas will be the desired unit, kung ano yung final units na gusto nyo. Okay, so for example, ito, we have 125 pounds to kilograms, no? So the conversion factor of pounds to kilogram is 2.205 pounds equal to 1 kilogram. So basically, what we did is that we placed the 2.205 pounds sa baba para mag-cancel sila ng pounds sa given quantity. Okay, so para ma-cancel yung unit. So yun. Ganon din dito, no? So yun. By the way, sometimes we have to use multiple conversion factors. Bakit? Wala daming demand ng questions, no? And sometimes there are no direct conversions from one unit to another. So if there is no direct conversion from one unit to another, that means we have to use lots of conversion factors. But still the same concept, no? What I mean with that is that the unit should cancel out, no? The given unit should be cancelled out for us to get the desired unit. For example, we have this, no? Gallons to ml. Anong meron tayong conversion? Gallons to liters and liters to ml. So first, we have to cancel gallons. So we will get liters. Then later on, we need to cancel liters to get ml, no? So ganun. So we can use multiple factor label methods, no? So mamaya bigay tayo ng mga examples pa dyan, no? So balik tayo sa problem natin. Okay, so ano meron tayo dito? Okay, so we have 2 inches, no, of side length. Kasi kapag kinube natin yan, what is 2 cube? 8, no? Okay, so magiging ano kasi siya, 8 cubic inches. But the volume should be expressed in centimeter cube or ml. Bakit? Yung kasing common, di ba? So yun. So we have to convert this now. So we have to convert first the inches. No? Convert inches to centimeter. So that's 2 inches times 2.54 cm, 1 inches. 1 inches tuloy. Dami yan. Cancel na. 1 inch na. Cancel natin yan. So that's 5.08 cm. Okay? So to get the volume, that is 5.08 cube, no? Cm cube, no? Solve ko. 5.08 cube. Ang daming number. So yun. So this 131.096512. Kunin natin yung 2 decimal places na lang muna. 2 decimal places na lang muna. So yun. For now. Sige. So yan. Cm cube. So that is the volume expressed in cm. So we can proceed with the density calculation. First, what is the density of ice cube? So solution A, density is mass over volume. Okay. Sir, hindi siya i-convert muna to 8 inches, sir. And then, ang ginawa natin dito, no, you have two ways, no, to convert this, no. Pwede mo siya i-convert na yung inches to centimeter. Pwede ring naman na yung volume na naka-cube, yun yung i-convert mo sa centimeter. So, the problem with that, you have to convert it multiple times, no. Sige, pakita natin, no. So, what I did here is, I converted the inches to centimeter first, then I solved for the volume. Pwede naman na yung volume i-solve mo muna, then you convert that to centimeter cube, no? So, paano yun, no? So, kunwari, I have 2 inches cube, no? So, that is 8 cubic inches na. So, next thing na gagawin ko is I'm going to convert this into cm cube, no? Ang downside nito is you have to do conversions multiple times, no? Bakit? Kasi naka-cube yung unit mo, no? As compared to this one na hindi siya naka-cube, no? So, mas madali, no? Pero anyway, that will still give you the same answer. So, pakita natin, ha? So, yun. So, I'm going to convert 8 cubic inches to cm cube. Okay? So, this is my given unit cube, no? Okay, so what is the conversion factor again? 1 inch equals 2.54. Okay, so nasa baba yung 1 inch. Lagyan ko ng 1 yan. Ayan. Para kita. 2.54 cm. Question. Enough na ba yung isang ganyan lang?
No.
No.
Hindi po.
If we cancel the units, may matitirang dalawa for the inches. So that means I have to do it again, no? 2.54 cm. Enough na ba yan?
Isa pa po.
Isa pa
Sir,
po.
hindi po pa pwede i-ano na lang siya, erase, like,
Pwede naman. Papakita ko lang.
okay po. Sorry po.
So yan. Papakita ko lang muna. So yan. So I have to do it again. So we have 2 inch square. So hindi pa siya enough, no? Sayang. Same tsara. So isa pa. Sana enough na to this time, no? So yan. So enough na kaya yung tatlong conversions? Pwede na, no? Kasi maka-cancel na yung units talaga, no? We can compress this into a cube, no? So parang yung sinabi niyo kanina. Pwede naman yung ganito na lang, no? Pwede natin i-cube yung buong quantity, no? Just make sure that the units, no, should be cubed as well. Not only the units, but the numbers also. So, yun. So, we can still arrive with the same answer, no? So, ganun. So, it's up to you, no? Kung gusto nyo i-convert nyo muna yung unit to inches, from inches to centimeter, then saka nyo kunin yung volume, or kunin nyo muna yung volume, then you convert it from one unit to another. So, yun. Sige. So, what is the mass? So, that is 1.2 times 10 raised to 2. So, ano lang meaning nun? You just multiply 10 raised to 2, or 100, to 1.2. What is 1.2 times 100? 120 grams now. That's divided by the volume. What is the volume? 131.10 grams per cm cube. Okay, so sige, solve natin. Lagyan natin line. Ayan. Ano nakuha nyo? Sa akin, 0.992 na lang. 2 decimal places. Ano unit?
Same, sir.
Opo, sir.
Ay pa, mali pala sinulat ko dito. Sorry, cm cube pala to. Excited. Grams per cm cube. Yan na. Yan. Also, ito pa isa pang masayang conversion. 1 cm is actually just 1 milliliters, no? So, yun. Yun yung, kaya mapapansin nyo yung mga, yung ibang mga volume containers, nakalagay 1 cc, minsan naman 1 ml, no? Especially sa mga syringe, no? Yung mga injection, no? Both na lang para wala. Wag na lang tayo mag-solve para wala talagang away, no? So, yan. So, yun na interchangeable yung ml to cm, no? So, yan. So, solve pa tayo mamaya. Next month, nandito na pala yung no? Huling paghuhukom. Ano nangyayari sa Philippines, no? So, yan. So, yan na. So, yan. You can interchange those units, no? Yung ml and cm cube, no? Sige. So, yan. So, okay na tayo with letter A. Letter B naman. What is the volume of water when ice cube melts, no? Okay. So, yun. So, ano naman daw yung volume of H2O if ice melts, no? Okay, so ano mapapansin nyo when ice melts, no? Kapag yung yellow nilagay nyo sa tubig, ano nangyayari?
Na dumadayo pa yung tubig. Ay.
Siyempre lumalamig, natutunaw. Tapos, yung yellow, nasa taas, nasa baba. Lumulutang yung yellow, di ba?
Yes.
So, the reason why lumulutang yung yellow is that density it is less than the water, no? So, yun. Pero, ano nangyayari, no? At as the ice melts, no? Nagbabago yung density niya rin, no? Okay, so nagbabago yung density kasi ng ice kapag siya ay nagme-melt. That has something to do with molecular structures, which we will discuss in the future topics, no? Yung molecules niya nag-expand, so lumalaki yung density niya to match that of the water, no? So from 0.92 grams per ml, nagiging 1 gram per ml siya, no? So yun, no? So nagbago yung density, no? Pero ano yung hindi nagbabago? Kung yung density nagbabago, that means yung volume nagbabago. Ano yung hindi nagbabago?
Mass.
Yung mass, no? Ayun. Pagmamahal ko sa'yo, sir. Char.
Ay.
Sad life. Ayan, sige. Wala po, lahat naman po nagbabago. Hugutan na. So yun, yung mass hindi siya nagbabago. Natutulog yung pusa. So yun, yung mass hindi siya nagbabago, no? So yun. Asa na yan? So that means, no, yung volume and density, they will change but the mass will never change. No? Parang nasa Bible yun, na. So yun. So sige. So ibig sabihin yung mass, still the same, 120 grams. Pero ngayon, hanapin natin yung volume, no? So nagbago yung density, no? Okay, so to solve for that, D is equals to M over V. To solve for volume, that is just mass over density. Sige. So volume is equal to 120 grams divided by, mass pala. 120 grams divided by, ano yung density? 1, no? 1 gram per ml. Okay, so we can cancel the units, no? And that will give us an answer of 120 ml, no? So, ayan, no? Yan yung ating solution. Siguro highlight natin, no? So, ito yung answer sa number 1. Ito yung answer sa number 2. Ayun. So, screenshot ko rin siya. Send natin dun sa, siguro sa canvas na, no? Para makita nyo dun. So, yun. Sagot pa tayo ng isa, no? Pero this time, kayo muna magsagot, no? So, ano kaya pwede ibigay sa inyo na question? Yung siyempre mahirap. Joke na. Ano kaya pwede? Daming notice, no? Feeling ko mathematician na ako. Sana all sinasagot. Ay, true. Sana all talaga. Joke. Sir Camille na lang po sasagot sa'yo. Ay, sige, sagutan nyo to, number ano. Okay, pwede sagutan dito. Siguro dalawa sasagutan nyo, no? Ito na lang. Answer number 15. Ano pa? And number 16. Sige lang, kuha lang kayong papel, no? So, yan. Sagutan nyo yung 15 and 16, no? So, teka lang. May conversion ba tayong kailangan? Yung 15, wala. Yung 16, yung feet to centimeter. Then yung kilogram. Ay, dami. Kunin ko muna yung conversion ng feet to centimeter. Hanapin natin sa PowerPoint. Siyempre, di ko rin kabisado. Ba't natin kakabisaduhin yan? Wala rin naman tayo sa Earth. Teka lang. Conversions. Ay, wala dito sa PowerPoint. Lahat na lang nawawala. Siyempre, kunin natin yung feet to centimeter. Siyempre, papahirapan natin yung buhay natin. No? Ang conversion natin is 1 feet, 12 inches, 1 inch, 2.54 cm. So, yan. O, yan, tama. Sagutan nyo muna yan. Gusto ko na lang maging manok. Mas alaga pa yung manok, no? Tilao ka, sir. Ayun. Pag titilao ako, may babagsak. Sige, sagot muna kayo niyan, no? Siya naman nagsabi. Sige. Sagot muna kayo, 15 and 16, no? Siguro bibigyan ko kayo ng ilang minutes. Balikan ko kayo 3:15, no? Ay, 15 minutes. Sige, 3:20 na lang. Naghanap muna akong makakain sa baba. Wait lang. Hindi kukuha akong tubig, ang init dito eh. So yun. Balikan ko kayo ng 3:20 na. Hindi, sige, panukorin ko na lang kayo. Hindi, may tubig pala ako dito. Pala. Papatugtog muna tayo. Wait lang. Okay, pwede. Suggest kayo ng kanta. Ito, pansimbahan. Ayan. Para banal tayo, no? Ito na lang. Graduation song. Sige. Yan lang, graduation song tayo. Zoom nyo na lang yung screen nyo. Okay,
Sir, sir,
Ano yun? Tapos na.
sir, pwede pong naka-scientific notation.
Yung
Pwede pong naka-scientific notation.
i-convert nyo na lang yung scientific notation.
Sige po.
Sige. Pwede rin naman na scientific notation. Pwede rin yun din. Patugtog muna tayo na. Ay, may ML. No? Siguro nagtaka kayo, no? May lyrics pala yan. No? Meron siyang lyrics talaga. Ano kasi yan eh. That's one of the patriotic songs in United Kingdom. However, when the American troops went to the Philippines, they used that as graduation song. I believe that was first played in University of the Philippines when they held their graduation after the World War. So yun, doon nag-start. May history pa. Ayan, so 2 minutes na lang, magsasagot na tayo. So ayun. Ibig sabihin pala kaya natin matapos yung buong chapter ngayong araw. Anong gagawin natin sa Thursday? Mag-solve, sagot lang tayo ng ibang problems.
Nakain.
Mukbang, mag-email na lang tayo. Hanap ako dito sa laptop. Ay, wala palang music dito. Ako po si Pedro mula sa Lawag Laguna. One minute na lang, magsasagot na po tayo. Ay, ang init, Lord. Sana umulan. By the way, no, if you are going to shift your modality pa, no, you can let me know. No? Meron sa inyong lumipat sa AOL. No? So, yun. May. Yun, wala. So, yun. Ayan, no? So, 3:20 na. Start tayo magsagot, no? Sagutan natin si number 15. On ko ba yung camera ko? Sige, para makita nyo yung ulo ko. Ayan, sige, sagot tayo number 15. Sabi dito, we have a solid with an irregular shape and has a mass of 11.3 grams that is added to a graduated cylinder filled with water. Density is 1 gram per ml to the 35 ml mark. After the solid sinks to the bottom, the water level is read to be at 42.3 ml mark. What is the density of the solid? To give you to give you background on this, this is actually called the Archimedes principle. Ito yung Eureka moment ni Archimedes. Ano ba nangyari nun? He was having a hard time trying to measure the density of irregular solids, no? Or irregular objects, for example, yung tao. So, what he did, no? One time, naliligo siya. Sana all naliligo. Nasa bathtub siya, filled with water. Then, nung humiga siya sa bathtub, yung water na-displace, no? Meaning na na-displace, tumapon. Hence the displacement method, no? Na tawag dito. So yun, nung humiga siya sa bathtub, natapon yung tubig. Tapos pumasok sa isip niya, what if I measure the volume of those liquid na na-displace? Tapos sabi niya, Eureka! Tapos yun, doon na-form yung brand ng ventilador, no? At iba pang mga household appliances. Yun lang yung history niya. Eureka! Gawang Pilipino, matibay talaga. Benta pala yun. Teka lang, burahin ko lang ito. May naman na screenshot natin to. Kala nyo sa school lang nagbubura ng board, no? Dito din. Okay. So, for the rest of the semester, ganito yung method natin, no? Ng pag-aaral. No? Medyo weird, pero yeah, wala tayong magagawa. So, ibig sabihin, no? So, number 15 is based on the concept of displacement method. No? So, what happens there is, for example, this is the graduated cylinder, itong tubig ko. Kunwari, pinasok ko tong mouse dito. So, ano mangyayari pag pinasok ko yung mouse? Ay, tumulog. So, ano mangyayari pag pinasok ko yung mouse dito? Yung tubig, madi-displace, no? Aangat yung water level. That's because tutulog na. Aangat yung water level sa container because of the volume occupied by the object. No? So, yan yung mangyayari. So, with the idea on how much volume was displaced, we can get the volume of the object. No? So, yun. So, ano ba sabi dito? So, we have an irregular solid, number 15. Ito yung ating irregular solid. Ayan. So, ang mass niya ay 11.33 grams. Nilagay daw siya sa graduated cylinder. No? So, That pala yung blue yung tubig, no? Hindi, hanap tayo mas magandang color. Ito, yan, mas magandang color. Yan. May green pa, no? Bakit ang tubig? So, yan. Okay, so ano nangyari? Nilagay niya iyan dyan. Then, yung water level, tumaas siya, no? So, what happened, no? So, initially, it was at 35 ml mark. Then, upon placing the solid, no, tumaas siya to 40. Asan yun? Ay, nawala. 42.3 ml mark, no? So, the difference in those volumes correspond to the volume of the solid, no? So, we're just going to get the change in volume, delta V. You're going to subtract the highest volume or the volume after the solid is placed minus the initial volume, no? So, 42 minus 3, ganun-ganun kayo sa kamay. Sabi niyo 7, ay 7.3.
7.3.
7.3. Tama ba yung kopya? 42.3.
Yes po.
Sige, tama. 7.3 ml.
3
So,
po.
that is the volume of the solid. So, ano ba yung tinatanong dito? What is the density of the solid?
Density po.
So, density, sanay kasi ako sa rho. Greek letter rho for density. Sige, di na lang gamitin natin. So, this corresponds to the volume of liquid. So, we can use the density formula, 11.33 grams divided by 7.3 ml, and that is equal to, ito yung mahirap.
1.55.
1.55
1.55.
1.55 grams over.
So, yeah, that's the final answer. No? Hindi lang yan tumama. Sana tama tayo. So, yun. So, amen tayo dyan, no? Pag tama, amen. Sige. Number 16. So, let's try to answer 16. A waterbed. Ay, sana all may waterbed. So, a waterbed is filled with water and has dimensions of 8 by 7 by 0.75. Laki naman nun. So, 8 feet by 7 feet. 0.75 feet. So, yan yung size ng waterbed. And anong nangyari dyan? The density of water is 1 gram per ml. May water at bed, tapos ilulubog yung bed. Ay, ang galing. Noisy si Bernadette. Sige. So, yun na. So, yung waterbed daw, yun yung size niya. Nilagyan siya ng tubig. The question is, gaano kabigat or what is the kilogram of water required to fill the waterbed? The density of water is 1 gram per ml. By the way, no, ilang beses ko sinusulat ito. Okay. So, ito kasi, this is a Greek letter, rho, which we use talaga as density, no? Rho talaga. And, pasensya, no? May makita kayo parang letter P. No? Ano yun? Density lang din yun. So, anyway, so yun. So, ito yung given, no? Ito yung dimension. Ito yung density ng water. So, whereas, no? Find kilograms of water. Madali lang. Because the density formula is density equals mass over volume. To get the mass, all we have to do is to multiply density by the volume. Now, density is already given. Dimension na lang, no? So, i-multiply lang naman natin sila. But the problem is, ano kaya yung problem? Yung unit, na. Kasi, pag minultiply natin yan directly, magiging cubic feet yan, di ba? Yan, magiging cubic feet siya. Kailangan natin ma-cancel kasi yung units, di ba? So, yung gagawin natin. Unang gagawin natin, we're going to convert the gram per ml to gram per cubic centimeter. Ayun na. Bakit? Ayun. So, co-convert na natin yan. So, still the same number lang yan. Pero, for the dimension of the water bed, we have to convert feet to centimeter, no? So, yun yung purpose ng ating conversion factors. So gagawin ko muna, i-multiply ko muna itong tatlo, no? Para hindi redundant yung pagsosolve natin isa-isa, no? So, multiply ko muna itong dimension niya as a whole. So, 8 times 7 is 0.75, 40.
Cubic feet.
Andun siya. Ayan, tingnan niyo. Puro balahibo na naman higaan ko na ito. So, yun. So, then, ang gagawin natin sa 42 feet, cubic feet, we're going to convert that into cubic centimeter. No? So, convert natin yan. So, 42 cubic feet, convert natin into centimeter. So, ano yung unang conversion natin? Feet to inches.
Inches.
Ilang inches meron sa isang paa? 12 inches now. And then how many times do we have to do this? Ilang beses natin kailangan i-convert yung feet to inches?
3 times.
3 po.
Okay. So, after doing that, the final unit is cubic inches. Oo namin. So, cubic inches na siya. No? Ano na gagawin susunod? Yung inches, we're going to convert that into centimeter. No? So, 1 inch is 2.54 cm. Then, how many times again? 3 times. No? So, yun. So, we can ensure that the units really cancel out. No? Cancel. Okay. Hindi po ba nagkaroon? Ay, nako. Puso. Ano? Iba na yan pag puso. Yan. No? Tama, rower. Sige, o-convert natin. No? So, medyo malaki yung number. Ay, just yan. Laki ng number. So, malaki pala yung number, no? So, 1189 307.557. Ay, ang dami. Ano to? Centimeter cube, no? I-multiply na lang natin yan dito. So, asa na ba tayo? So, mass is equals to density times volume. That's 1 gram per ml. Ay, cm cube na pala yung gagamitin natin, ha? Same lang naman eh. Just to cancel the units, no? So, that's 1189307.557 cm cube. Cancel. So, saan na siya equal? The same pa rin, no? Pag kayo nag-calculate pa dito, ewan ko na lang na. 557 grams. Ito na ba yung sagot? Hindi pa. Kasi, ang tinatanong ay, ano yung tinatanong? Kilograms, no? So, we're asked the mass in kilograms. So, paano yung conversion doon, no? So, pwede tayo gumamit ng conversion again. So, kilogram yung nasa taas, grams yung nasa baba. No? So, in 1 kilogram, how many grams are there? There are 1,000 grams for 8 kilograms. No? So, yan. You have to remember this, no? Ay, nagsara siya. Alam. You have to remember the powers of 10 now. Kasi you will find that useful in our future topics na. Mega, giga, kilo, deci, something na. So, yan. May papansin nyo, kilo is 10 to the third of the base unit. No? So, yun. So, just cancel the units or just simply move the decimal point 3 times. No? 1, 2, 3. So the final answer is 1189.30757 kilograms, or round off na lang natin to decimal places. 1189.31 kilogram. Okay. So, ano yung conclusion natin dito? Mayaman yung may-ari ng waterbed kasi mahal yung tubig, no? So, ayan. Okay, so we have the same answer ba? Or if you have any other answers, no? Wala, opo. Sige. Saan tayo na Bernadette? Mathematicianist. Tama naman ba, Bernadette? Saint. Sige, saint. Sige. Tama ba, Bernadette? Tama naman pala. Ikaw, Meng. Tulog na siya. So, yun. If you have any questions, kala ko kung ano. Wala si John Rolf. Ano yan, John Rolf? Mamaya iba na yung makita namin dyan.
Solusyon sana eh. Kaso di nakikita, sir. Nakawala, oh. Wow!
Ano daw?
Solution sana, sir. Kaso, sir, nagiging magic. Tinan mo, sir. Ay.
Wow!
Wow! Magic.
Magicianist ka dyan. So, yun lang naman.
Magician.
So, yun. So, balikan natin yung in-skip natin, no? Just to formally end this chapter. So, ano ba pwede natin gawin sa Thursday? Ayun, it's up to you. Pwede tayo mag-solve, pwede namang hindi. No? May bahala. Sige. Pero nagigets nyo naman yung topic. Nasusundan naman po ba? If you have questions, you can ask, ha? Sige. Okay, so let's go to the final part of this discussion. This is more on the numbers, no? Especially na-raise kanina yung scientific notation. Okay, so, sige. Tapusin na natin yung araw natin. Sana all stem and strand. Okay. Susundan naman, sige. Ay, bakit may sad, no? Nasusundan naman ba? Okay lang yun. We have the recording of this class naman, no? So you can recheck, no? And if you have questions, you can ask me, no? So yun. Ano lang naman eh, no? Parang ang classes kasi, no, is parang relationship lang. If you don't communicate well, hindi kayo magkakaintindihan, no? So yun. Pag may problema, sabihin nyo, no? So ganun. Pag walang problema, edi okay, no? Sabihin nyo pa rin. Sir, wala pa akong nakikidyo. Hanapan kita. Okay, so sige, scientific notation tayo. Ang init dito sa pwesto ko. Okay, so sige. So what is the purpose of scientific notation muna? So any ideas? Why do we have to use this? Bakit kaya kailangan ng scientific notation? Para di mahaba ang alin, yung numbers, no? Kasi usually we're dealing with huge numbers, no? In chemistry, no? Sayang yung ink, no? Totoo yun. And the problem is, kunwari, I have this number. Kunwari, yan, no? Kunwari, yan, number na yan, I have no way to shorten that, no? Ang pwede mangyari is, baka may ma-skip akong zero. Nakalimutan ko yung isang zero. Ano mangyayari? Do I still have the same number? Hindi na, no? So yun, that's the downside of very big numbers. If you are writing big numbers, ano siya? There are risks, no, or chances that you may forget one of the zeros, no? So that will give you a wrong number, no? So yan. So therefore we employ the pag malaki numbers or lalaki yan din sulat. Ayun, so sulat natin yung scientific notation. So, what is the scientific notation? No? It is in the format of n times 10 raised to n. No? So, yan yung format niya. Note natin ulit. Format. Ay, ano nangyari? Format. So, we have this integer number times 10 raised to exponent. No? So, yun yung format. Integer times 10 raised to small letter n, the exponent. So, ano yung kwento niyan? No? So, n is any number. No? It could be positive or negative, but the values should be between 1.0000000 or up to 9.99999. No? So, sa tingin nyo, pwede ba yung 0.9 sa capital letter N? Pwede ba yun? Pwede hindi. Ang sagot dapat ay hindi. No? So, kasi ang capital letter N, it should start always with 1. Hindi pwedeng 0.9. No? So, always 1.00. Tapos, papunta siya sa 9.999. Hindi pwede yung 10. No? So, yan yung limits niya. 1 to 9.999. Pwedeng positive, pwedeng negative. Basta hindi siya 0.9 or 10.0. No? So, yun yung format niya. What is this capital letter? What is this exponent? The exponent tells you how many zeros are there. No? Okay, so how many decimal places are moved, no, in order to get this capital letter N. So, yun. Okay, so, in summary, this is your integer number with values 1 to 9.999. This tells you how many decimal place you have moved in order to get this number. So, ilang beses ka nag-adjust para makuha to. So, that's the idea. Okay. 1.00 to 9.999. No? So, yun yung idea, na. So, sige. So, for example, lagi na lang nag-adjust. Ganun talaga, no? Wala tayong choice, no? So, for example, we have this number, 568.762. If we're going to express this in scientific notation, all we have to do is to write a capital letter N first. No? Ano kaya yung pwedeng number na pasok sa 1.0 to 9.99? No? So, titignan natin tong number. So, tignan natin siya. Pwede natin to i-express into scientific notation if we move the decimal 2 places to the right. Left pala to. If we move the decimal places to the left, no? Pag inurong natin yan, magiging ganito siya eh. 6.2. So, itong number na to, pasok ba to dun sa criteria natin for capital letter N? Pasok ba siya dyan? Pasok siya, no? Kasi it is between 1 to 9.999. So that means we can write scientific notation for this, no? However, how many places natin inurong yung decimal point? So, we move the decimal point 2 places to the left, no? Pag to the left, positive, no? So, that's 10 raised to positive 2. Or pwede tanggalin nyo na yung positive, no? That's understood naman. Ayan, pag to the left, positive. Pag to the right, negative. Nagpo-positibo kapag nangangaliwa. Ganun. Yan. Kubit, no? Kubit sila. Pag nangaliwa sila, kubit-kubit na. So, yun. Paano kapag to the right, na? Yun ay negative naman. So, for example, we have this number. We have a huge number. So, can we write the scientific notation for this? Pwede naman, no? All we have to do is to just move the decimal point to get a number that is between 1 to 9.999. So, yun. Kailangan iurong natin to get a decimal number that fits into our criteria. Okay, so, tatanong ako. Pwede na ba dito huminto? Pwede na ba dito?
Hindi po.
Dito?
Hindi din po.
Dito yung decimal.
Hindi po.
Dito.
Hindi po.
Dito.
Hindi po.
Dito.
Hindi po.
Dito.
Hindi
Sir.
po.
Ah,
Hindi po.
Tingnan natin,
Sumobra
sir.
po, sir.
dito.
Sumobra ka na, sir. Sir, di ko na
Sumobra.
natanggap.
Sir, sumobra ka na, sir.
Dyan, sir,
Sumusobra
dyan,
ka
sir.
na.
Yes po.
Sir, dyan, sir. Kasi, sir, baka mabad trip na ako. Char.
Meow.
Sir.
Meow.
Sir.
Meow.
Okay, so purong natin sa decimal point. Ay, hindi ko binilang. Ilang places? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have to move the decimal point 6 places to the right to get a number that fits into our criteria for the integer part. No? So yes. Then since 6 places to the right siya, negative 6 yun. No? So that's how you write scientific notations. No? Sige, practice tayo. No? May mapapraktisan ba dito? Ay, wala. Ay, ito. Sagutan natin 5. Ay, ano nangyari? Sagot tayo. Number 5. Tapos kayo sa 6, no? Sige. Siguro isasabihin nyo na lang yung sagot sa number 6, no? So, sige. For number 5, we are going to write this into scientific notation. So, this is the decimal point. Ilang beses tayo mag-move to the left? 1, 2, 3. So, that is 4.6332 times 10 raised to 3 milligrams. No? So, yun. About this one, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, that's 4.73 times 10 raised to negative 4 liters. About this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5, 1.27 times 10 raised to 5 cm cube. No? So ganun. No? So number 6. No? Sino gusto sa number letter A? Number 6, letter A. Paunahan sa mic. No? Sige, si John Roll. Ano sagot ni John Roll? Number 6, letter A. Tagal. Okay, so tignan natin. Tama ba si John Roll? 4.0206 times 10 raised to 3. Tama ba? So check natin. No?
Sir,
Gamitan natin ibang
sir,
color.
question po.
3. So that's 4.0206 times 10 raised to 3 milliliters. So tama. No? So, sino susunod? Letter B. Nice. Letter B. Sino gusto? Sige. Sige, Bernadette.
Try lang, sir.
Sige. Okay, yun, letter B, no? Mapapansin natin, do we have to move the decimal place pa?
Kahit hindi na po.
Kahit
Hindi na po.
Hindi
So,
Times 10 raised to 0.
yes. So, pwedeng ganun. 1.006 times 10 raised to 0 grams. Yan. Pag-trip mo lang. Okay lang din naman yung sinagot ni Bernadette, pero that's not the final answer, no? So, yun. So, we can, pag wala na kayong gusto i-move, times 10 raised to 0 lang, no? Nice. So, yun. Letter C. Sino gusto sa letter C? Letter C. Okay. So, for letter C, that's purong dalawang decimal point, dalawang decimal places, 1.001 times 10 raised to 2 degrees Celsius. So, ganun lang, na. So, that's how we deal with scientific notations, na. all. Sana all kinikip. Ay, nangyari. Okay, so ngayon naman, puntahan natin yung calculations, no? Kasi we can do operations with our scientific notations, no? Pwede tayong mag-add, pwede mag-subtract, so on and so forth, no? So, okay, so let's try to answer that, no? Punta tayo dito. So, how do we add scientific notations, no? Nawala talaga yun. So, anyway, sige. When adding numbers, or when adding scientific notations, anong gagawin natin, no? So, we should take note that we should have the same exponent, no? So, kailangan same yung exponent. If hindi siya same sa exponent, ano gagawin? What if hindi same yung exponent? So, may mag-a-adjust pag ganun na. So, yun. Pag hindi sila parehas, may mag-a-adjust, no? Kahit sino pwede mag-adjust, no? Okay, so we just add the quantity. Then, we make sure that the exponents are the same. For example, we have here 7.4 times 10 raised to 3 plus 2.1 times 10 raised to 3. What we do is just, we add this integer part, no? We add the n part, the number part, no? So, what's 7.4 plus 2.1? And 9.5. So, pinag-a-add lang natin sila. How about the exponent? So, exponent, we just copy. Copy mo yan, copy mo yan. Yun yung sagot na. So, ganun. Okay, so what if hindi sila same ng exponent, no? For example, itong number 2, ito times 10 raised to 4, ito times 10 raised to 3, no? So, ano pwede natin gawin dyan? May isang mag-a-adjust, no? So, kahit sino naman pwede mag-adjust. In this case, ang ginawa niya is yung 10 to the 3 nag-adjust to 10 to the 4th power, no? Okay, so paano yun, no? So, pakita lang natin yung solution dyan. So, 4.31 times 10 raised to 4. Okay, so paano natin gagawing times 10 raised to 4 itong 3.9? All we have to do is just to move the decimal point to the left, no? Every step you take, no, to the left, plus 1, meaning none. So, yun. And consequently, any step to the right, negative 1 yung katumbas, no? So, we move 1 decimal point to the left. So, magiging plus 1 yan, no? Yung ating exponent. Then, we can add this and this, no? So, 4.31 plus 3.39, the 4.70 times 10 raised to 4. So, that's the final answer. Kunwari, sir, paano kapag gusto ko yung times 10 raised to 4 yung mag-adjust? Hindi, okay lang. Gusto mo siya yung mag-adjust? Sige. Lahat naman pwede mag-adjust eh. Gawin natin yun. So, what if I want this number to adjust, no? Ano siya yung gusto ko maging times 10 to the 3rd power. Okay, wala na pura siya. So, sobrang adjust niya na wala na siya. Ayun, ganun talaga. Kaka-adjust natin, nawawala na tayo. So, yun. So, kunwari, gusto mo i-adjust yung number to match that of the 3rd power. All you have to do is to move to the left or right. Left or right? Kapag left, plus 1. Pag right, minus 1. So, we just move this to the right para mag-minus 1 tayo dun. So, we'll arrive with 3.1 times 10 raised to 3 plus 3.9 times 10 raised to 3. So, the final answer is times 10 raised to 3, 43 plus 3.9 cannot be 47. Okay. So, the question, is this the final answer? Not yet, no? Bakit? Kasi the final answer, remember, itong part na to, this capital letter N should only be should only be between 1 to 9. No? Ayan. So, meow daw. Agree si Ming. No? So, in order for me to get that, I just have to move 1 decimal point to the left now. So, that will add plus 1 to my exponent. Hence, the final answer is still 4.7 times 10 raised to 4. So, yun. Okay. So, ganun lang din naman with the negative exponent. No? Just remember, every step to the left is positive 1 for the exponent. Every step to the right is negative 1 for the exponent. So, yan. Alright. So, tapos na tayo with addition and subtraction. How about multiplication and division? So, for multiplication and division, for multiplication and division, as is siya, no? We multiply these numbers, itong capital N, ito, pati ito. We multiply them. And at the same time, we add the exponents. No? Okay. So, ano ulit? Pag addition and subtraction, they should have the same exponent. Then you add the two integer parts. No? For multiplication and division, what we do is we just multiply the numbers or divide the numbers, then we add or subtract the exponents. We add the exponents if addition, if multiplication siya. We subtract the exponents if division siya. For example, this one. No? Okay, so whereas here to multiply 4 times 10 raised to 5 by 7 times 10 raised to 3. No? So, mapapansin natin, 4 times 7 is 7, 14, 21, 28. So, yun. So, 28. So, anong ginawa natin sa exponents? We just add the 2 kasi multiplication siya. So, what is negative 5 plus 3? Negative 2. Ay, ano nangyari? So, negative 2 siya. Okay? But that is not the final answer since our integer part is not within 1 to 9. So, we just adjust 1 step to the left. So, that gives the exponent negative 2 and an added 1 value. So, yun, magiging 2.8 times 10 raised to negative 1 na lang siya. So, ganun na. So, ano uling rules for multiplication? Sabayang pagbigkas. For multiplication, we multiply the integer part and we add the exponents regardless kung negative or positive siya. You just add them. Okay.
True.
How about division? So for division, you divide the integer part, then you subtract the exponents. So yan, so we divide the integer part, 1.7 daw, and we subtract the exponents. So what's 4 minus 9? That's negative 5, no? So that's the final answer, no? So those are the operations involving scientific notations. Ngayon, significant figures tayo. No? Magsamahin na natin para masaya yung buhay. Okay, so for significant figures, not all numbers make sense, no? Especially in measurement, no? Kasi hindi lahat ng number, hindi lahat ng binigay mo nagme-make sense for something, for someone. No? Kasi some of those numbers can be neglected naman. Pwede naman natin burahin yung mga numbers na yun. Hence, the significant figures. No? So, when can we say that a number is significant? No? Kailan siya importante? Okay, so these are the guidelines. You have to remember this, no, by heart. No? So, rule number 1, all non-zero digits are significant. No? So, ibig sabihin, pag hindi ka zero, significant ka. Ilang significant figures to? Ilang significant figures yan?
1.
1.
Ilan yan?
2.
Ito.
3.
So, any
3.
numbers that are not zero are significant. So,
Oh, yes.
Number 2, if you have zeros,
In the beginning.
ay,
In the
bakit ganito?
beginning.
Sige, anyway. So, nasanay kasi ako na ito yung number 1. Yan yung number 1. Ito yung ginagawa ko number 2 eh. So, yun. Nasanay lang. Okay, so, second rule natin itong number 3. No? If you have zeros between non-zero digits, you consider them significant. No? For example, is this zero significant? Significant.
Yes.
Yes.
Kasi nasa gitna siya ng
Dalawang
non-zero digits. No? So, how many significant figures do I have in that number?
5.
5. Sige. So, the third rule is about zeros. No? We have two types of zeros. We have the trailing zeros. Sulat natin.
yung sa likod.
Trailing zeros and
We
leading
have
zeros.
trailing zeros and leading zeros.
yes.
Okay. So, what is a trailing zeros? Ano yung trailing zeros? Sila yung nasa dulo.
Nasa dulo.
Sa dulo.
Sa likod.
Meaning yung nasa dulo ng number nasa right side. Okay?
Yes.
Pag sinabi nating leading zeros, these are zeros in front
At
of
the
the,
beginning.
meaning yan nasa left. Sino yung hindi importante? Yung nangunguna, yung leading zeros. So, dito tayo sa rule number 3. Zeros at the beginning of a number that is non-zero, we consider them insignificant or not significant. So, that means itong leading zeros na yan, wala siyang importance. No? Not really walang importance kasi without those zeros, no, we cannot know kung nasaan yung decimal places. No? So, yun kasi yung purpose ng leading zeros. They indicate decimal places. No? DP na lang. Okay. They only indicate decimal places. No? They don't have anything to do with everything else. No? So, yun. So, yan lang. How about the trailing zeros? No? So, according to them, those are important zeros. No? So, yun itong nasa rule number 4. No? Trailing zero is important. Pero ito may point na sinabi dito. If it contains decimal point only. That means, in a zero, a trailing zero is important if it bears the decimal place. Sige. Mag-ano tayo dito? Example. How many significant figures do I have here?
4.
4.
Kasi may decimal point.
Yes.
How about this one? Teka lang, susulat pa ako. How about that one?
1.
Sa 1. Isa lang, sir.
Hindi natin sure dapat yung sagot, no? Kasi yun yung rule number 5. Sabi natin dito sa rule number 4,
Zero.
the trailing zero is important only if it contains decimal places. Pag may decimal point, decimal places, and decimal point. Kapag may decimal point siya, significant siya. What if wala? Yun yung rule number 5. No? Zeros at the end or the trailing zeros may or may not be significant. No? Pwede siyang importante, pwede siyang hindi. Depende sa tao. Depende sa interpretation niya. That means 400, we can interpret that, no? We can rewrite that kasi into scientific notations. No? We can write it into a scientific notation with one significant figure only. Pwedeng dalawa, pwedeng tatlo. Or, you can just simply add a decimal point at the end para maging tatlo siya. Okay? So, pag walang decimal point, we call this case ambiguous. Pag walang decimal point, ambiguous ay new term, no? Pwede ko naman di siya new term, no? So, when we say ambiguous, we don't know, and the interpretation depends on who is the person solving. So, yun. Okay. So, yun lang naman yung significant rules natin. Mamaya babalikan natin sila. No? So, yun. So, punta tayo sa last part. Ito, last part na talaga to. No? Ay, salamat sa Diyos. Sige. So, when calculating problems, no, we have to take note of the scientific significant figures rather. Okay, so we have to consider that. Okay, so when you multiply numbers, ano daw gagawin mo? If you multiply or divide numbers, we follow these, the answer should be expressed in terms of the least number of significant figures. Okay? Multiply, divide, ano gagawin? Least significant figures. No? So, yung pinaka-onting significant figures yung kukunin natin. So, let's take this for example. We have 2.8 times 4.5039. So, this is the answer. No? Okay. So, the question is that the final answer? Of course, not yet. Because according to our rules, we have to follow the significant figures stuff. No? So, yeah. So, how many significant figures do we have for 2.8? Yan ay dalawang significant figures. How about this one? 5 significant figures.
Mali.
So, sino yung may pinaka-onti? Ang may pinaka-onti ay, syempre, yung 2. So, we have
2.8.
significant figures. Hence, we round this off to 2 significant figures. No? But you also have to check yung nasa right side niya. No? Okay, if yung nasa right side niya is 5 pataas, then you can round that off. No? You can round it off to 13. So, try naman natin to division. No? So, ito divided by this, ayan daw yung number. Daming number. So, ilang significant figures to? 3.
3.
Ito ay
5.
So, we follow figures. So, saan tayo mag-stop nun? Dito ba?
No.
Dito?
Hindi po.
No.
Start counting at 6.
No.
Dito.
Oh,
Done.
yes.
Okay, so
Oh,
we
yes.
stop by this part. Kasi
Hindi,
this is
hindi.
3 significant figures already. So,
Ah,
our
sige.
final answer would be that number, 0.0611. Okay, so when we multiply and divide, take note that we follow the number with the least significant figures. No? Yung pinaka-onti yung significant figures, yung basis natin for rounding down the answer. When we add and we subtract naman, ang gagawin natin is not about significant figures, but rather on the decimal places. No? For addition and subtraction, instead of following the least significant figure, we follow the least decimal places. Pinaka-onti yung decimal places yung sinusunod na. So, for example, we have this one. Ayan, no? So, 89.332. No? Ilang decimal places to? Ilang decimal places? Bilangin natin yung number sa decimal.
3.
So, 3 decimal places siya. This one naman, isa
One.
lang.
Isa.
Paano ko malalaman kung ilang decimal places? We just count the number at the right side of the decimal point. So, we have 3 numbers here. So, 3 decimal places. We have 1 number here. We have 1 decimal place. So, sino yung susundin? 3 or 1? Siyempre, yung 1. So, we round off the answer to 1 decimal place. No? So, ganun. No? So, when subtracting, we still follow the same process. How many decimal places do we have here?
3.
This is 3 decimal places.
2.
So, to get the final answer, we cut by the second decimal place. So, however, look at the number on the right side. Can we round this up?
Yes. Yes.
Basta 5 above at nasa right side siya. You can round that up. Pero kapag 4 pababa, let's record, no? Sanay naman tayo dun, no? So, yun. So, again, let's summarize, no? When we add and divide, when we multiply and divide, we get the least significant figures. Add and subtract, we get the least decimal places. So, that's exact numbers. So, what are exact numbers? So, when we say exact numbers, that do not have any significant figures. Sila yung mga hindi importante talaga kahit anong mangyari. So, yun. So, paano natin sila masasabi if they are exact numbers or not? So, yun. Medyo namin. Okay. So, when we say exact numbers, those numbers do not signify any figures, no? Kasi exact sila. When you say exact, ganito yun, no? Maraming classification. Number 1, isang example ng exact number is the conversion factor. Okay, so yung conversion factor, hindi natin kinakount yung significant figures nun. No? So, balik tayo sa isang problem natin kanina. No? So, if we are going to consider the significant figures, no? Asan na yun? Itong part na to. If we're going to consider the significant figures, ilang significant figures dapat yung sagot dito? 42 times this times that. Dapat 2 significant figures pa rin, no? Dapat 2 significant figures pa rin yan. Ano ba yung tawag natin sa mga to? These are conversion factors, no? Pag sinabi natin conversion factors, those are numbers that are exact, no? So, yun yung definition niya kasi, no? So, we don't have to match the number of significant figures, no? Kasi the answer would be pangit, no? So, yun. Yeah, so, ibig sabihin, itong answer pala natin na to, we can round this up to 2 significant figures. No? Paano natin isusulat yan into 2 significant figures? Pwede tayo gumamit ng scientific notation. Kasi ilang significant figures to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. So, 10 significant figures kasi to eh. So, sabi sa rule, kailangan 2 lang. Hindi nagmamatter ito. So, that means the answer for this should be, kurong ko yung decimal point. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. So, the final answer, if we are going to consider 2 significant figures, that should be 1.2 times 10 raised to 6 cubic centimeter. There, we will get the 2 significant figure na sinasabi niya doon. So, by the way, for the sake of this discussion, ditong part lang tayo mag-significant figures. No? For the rest of the discussion, especially sa stoichiometry, hindi ko na sinusundan yung significant figures. Pero for the sake of this chapter, no, you have to remember the rules. No? So number 1 type of number is the conversion factor. Ano pa yung number 2? Number 2 could be, ang tawag natin doon, transcendental numbers. Big word, no? Alam niyo to sa calculus. When you say transcendental, these are numbers that are infinite, no? Give me a number na infinite. Ginamit natin siya kanina. Anong number yun? Yun, pi. Pi is an example of exact number. We cannot round that off, no? Kaya sabi ko kanina, ming ang ingay mo. So, yun, no? So, ano ba yung exact number ng pi? So, that's 3.1415926 something something. So, yun. So, hindi mo i-count yung significant figure nun kasi sobrang dami nun. What else are the transcendental numbers? Yung Euler's number, that's 2.709 something something. But we don't use that now. So, yan. Yung pi, exact number yon. So, you disregard the number of significant figures na meron yan. What else? No? Ang exact number din is yung something na walang unit. No? For example, itong 9. No? Sino ba yung tinitignan natin ng significant figures? Most of the time, yung mga may units. No? So, itong number 9 na to, exact number yan. No? Yung integer na yan. No? Pag mayroon tayong integer, exact number yan. No? So, yun. So, if we're going to multiply a measurement with an integer, ano yan? No? We just follow how many significant figures are there for the measurement, no? Not of the significant figure. No? Ayun, grabe. Nalito na ako. Not that of the exact number. So, yun. Okay, so we have 3 types of exact numbers, conversion factors, transcendentals, and integers. No? Yun. Pero for the sake of this discussion, no, ngayon lang siya magiging important. No? Kasi later on, magiging messy na kasi yung calculations natin. So, we can neglect this. No? So, yeah. Pero when reporting scientific papers, no, pag kayo nag-thesis, no, you should still follow the rules. No? Ayun. Siguro for now, I will give you time. No? At least may gagawin tayo next week. Kala ko matatapos natin lahat yun. So, I will give you time to glance on Chapter 1 worksheet. No? So, check nyo kung ano mga pwede sagutan dito. Pwede naman sagutan lahat. No? Then, on Thursday, no, we're just going to answer the problem. So, that means maga tayo mag-dismiss on Thursday. Then. So, yeah. Kasi 14 minutes na lang tayo. So, may next class pa kayo. So, we will end this class early. No? So, yun. So, nasundan naman po ba yung mga bagay? Nasundan naman. Yun. No? So, sana okay tayo sa calculations. No? Because later on, chemistry will become calculation intensive. No? So, yun. No? Medyo marami tayong calculations needed in the future. So, you really have to master this. No? But, on Thursday, we will surely master all these calculations stuff. No? So, yun. Feeling ko perfect yun na yung quiz 1 nito. No? Kasi puro measurement lang naman yun. So, yun. So, with that, no, I think that's all for today. Next Thursday, teka lang. Siguro dito na lang, no? Dalawa lang naman yung na-screenshot ko. Ay, hindi. Meron ito pa pala. Burahin ko na lang yung notes natin. So, yun. So, 3 lang naman yung screenshots. Upload ko na lang dito and sa Canvas, no? So, yun. Yung video, no? Upload ko rin ito. So, yun. So, that's all for today, no? End ko na yung video para hindi matagal masyado. Yan. So, yun.